Good evening. When changes to housing benefits were first introduced, some feared it could mean hundreds of families being forced to leave London. The Mayor Boris Johnson was quick to say he wouldn't accept the Kosovo-style social cleansing of the capital. But now figures obtained by this programme reveal that in one borough alone, more than 500 families could be sent to live in other parts of the country because of changes to their benefits and the housing shortage. Tower Hamlets says it's struggling to cope with people unable to pay their rent, and the borough's not alone. More than half of London's councils think the situation is actually going to get worse. Our special correspondent Kurt Barling has this exclusive report.
Tower Hamlets has long been a very mixed community with one of the highest ratios of public housing in London. But with rent in the private sector rising, it's seen an increasing number of people chasing a declining stock of affordable housing. It's now hit crisis point.
The council say they really fear that next year they'll have to move up to 500 households out of London. That's because there's a lack of affordable housing, but also because of a raft of changes in welfare benefits.
When we received the eviction letter, we tried to go...
Abu Suhel and his young family were evicted from private rented accommodation because the landlord wanted to sell. His family has been put in temporary accommodation by Tower Hamlets in an outer London borough, even though his children remain in school in Tower Hamlets.
When we went to the homeless people, they said, our target is 6 weeks. If we can't manage within 6 weeks, definitely within 12 weeks we will provide you a temporary accommodation within the borough, Tower Hamlet. So now it's more than 12 weeks, but we didn't, we are on transfer list number 7. They said we don't know when we will get, the property back to the Tower Hamlet.
Tower Hamlets has the largest council house building programme in London, but even it is struggling to cope with increasing demand.
To date, we have not placed families outside in Birmingham or in Northampton because we are committed to bringing back our families who've just been placed outside on the borough, on the outskirts of the borough, to bring them back in. To place a family in Birmingham, Northampton disrupts their life. We have to look at alternatives.
The situation in Tower Hamlets is not unique. 30 London councils told us they've sent families to Bradford, Birmingham and Peterborough, and many have been rehoused in the home counties in areas like Luton, North Kent and Slough. In total, 931 families were placed in temporary accommodation outside London. But now authorities like Newham have taken the next step, offering people like Fatima permanent homes in other cities. She's a single parent, has epilepsy and lost her home when the landlord wanted to move back in, and has been offered a place by Newham Council in Birmingham.
I just froze. I bursted into tears. I thought, Birmingham, why are you going to send me to Birmingham when I've never even stepped foot in Birmingham in my life? I've always been here, do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
Newham told us Fatima's case was being reviewed, but said she'd refused the home in Birmingham without even viewing it.
We have plenty of clients that say, we understand what the crisis is with housing. We're not saying we want to live in Buckingham Palace. We're not saying we want to be in Kensington and Chelsea. We're not even saying we want to be in the same bit of London, but we want to be that we can work around what this is and enable us to still get our children to school. Plenty of people are prepared to commute and get their children to school and do that bit of hard work, but moving somebody outside London where they have to start a new school and taking them away totally from their support network is another thing.
Much of the burden is falling on councils around the capital. Here in Slough, they've rehoused 77 families from other areas. 22 councils in all have sent people here, but they say many aren't even telling them.
We're generally an authority that's just kind of picked up the pieces and carried on, but we're just aware that the numbers of authorities placing people here is larger, and we've got huge pressure on our housing anyway, 7,000 waiting list. We've been trying to tighten up some of our policies to make sure we can sort of promote and reward local need rather than finding ourselves tackling the pressures from people from other boroughs.
The government says they've given councils more money to avoid such drastic action. No council should be sending tenants en masse to a different part of the country. Such a blanket policy would be unlawful. The law is clear that councils have a responsibility to take into account people's jobs and schools when securing homes for those in need. The situation may get worse before it gets better. 18 out of London's councils told us they couldn't rule out sending families out of London. Kirk Barling, BBC London News.
We'll stay with